mankind is moving, where we're living longer, right? And we're making more money per person. And it's had a pretty severe impact. Beautiful animation you can play with. There's a piece of software called Gapminder. But here's the progress over the last 100 years. Our average human lifespan has increased twofold. That's pretty darn good, right? Secondly is per capita has increased threefold, and our childhood mortality rates have decreased by tenfold. Very, very powerful. And look at the cost for food, for electricity, transportation, communications. Look at the communications one. It's gone down 1,000-fold in the last 100 years. We're living in an incredible moment in time. And at the heart of it all is this notion of connectivity. We are connected in a way that we have never been connected before. Distance is dead. It's not uncommon for me to wake up in the middle of the night. My wife asks me, where are you going, Carl? I said, I'm going to India. And I'll walk out, go to my office, fire up my video telepresence unit, have a call for an hour with India, and I come right back to Ben. She goes, how was your trip? I said, there was no traffic. It was wonderful. Right? It's a commonplace occurrence to do that. So what's happened is this connectivity has really led to living in a world where everything has changed. So how many of you think the world is changing at a comfortable rate? Anybody? We got one? We got one. Let's all boo and hiss. Come on, boo, hiss. We tend to forget how quickly things are moving. And I mean, just a really good example, most of the people I talk to look like this. They're like, oh my God, how do I keep up with it? And it's not only the people my age, but also some very young people. How do you keep up with everything? So I ask you to consider a couple of things. In the last 25 years, we've had the birth of the internet, we've had the birth of social media, and we've had the birth of mobile phones. In the last 25 years. So much so that now, not a day goes by that we have these devices with us on our body all the time. And knowledge is fully democratized. There's not an argument that goes by in my home during dinner that one of my 3 daughters pulls out the smartphone, they Wikipedia, Google, whatever, and they say, Dad, you're wrong here. So now I can't BS them anymore. Now I got to be factual in what I can't make up stuff anymore, right? They're busting me. Right? But knowledge is democratized, and it's in the palm of our hands. Everything. What's going to happen when we have sensors everywhere? We have sensors on the lights. We have sensors on cameras. We have sensors on our shoes. We have sensors that I'm wearing today, whether it's through my Pebble watch that talks to my iPhone or my Nike that tells me how much exercise. This is changing my behavior. Everyone know what the Nike Fuel Band does? Right? This monitors and tracks my activity. Right? They call it fuel. But I had a contest going on with some of my brothers, right? And it's not unlike, 12:30, 11:30 at night before midnight. I look at it, I haven't hit my goal, I'll get out of bed and run. Right? My wife Tina looks at me and goes, what are you, crazy? I'm going, no, I got to win, right? You don't want to lose. It changes your behavior. So when everything connects, it's going to be really quite interesting. So as we think about it, think about all of these sensors that are detecting and monitoring everywhere around the world, start to transmit and they aggregate information through analysis and they provide visualization. This visualization will be interpreted to give you some insight, and it's going to either save you money through optimization or it's going to make you money through knowledge and information analytics. And all of those things will be processed in a way that's going to improve an outcome. Artificial intelligence at this level on the cloud off of your Google Glass or any other device is coming. It's going to make us experts in anything and everything, right? We're going to take an average doctor and make them Superman, which is good for all of us, right? We may take our handheld device and put artificial intelligence on it and make that handheld device Superman. Hold on, it's coming, artificial intelligence. And then just some parting advice for students that are here. If there's a skill I'd ask you to think about is becoming adaptable. Not feeling uncomfortable with having to change and reinvent yourself all the time. Being open to a lot of new opportunities that exist out there. It's not only the traditional ones, there's a lot of new things. Prepare for lifelong learning. I guarantee you as soon as you graduate, you're going to continue to learn. Work at understanding technology. Every single person in this room has to understand technology or you'll be left behind. For the entrepreneurs, who's the entrepreneurs in this room? A few of you. Well, thank you for being here. So it couldn't be a better time for you. right? It's a world now with platforms that allows you to compete like everyone else. Crowdfunding with Kickstarter and everything else kind of eliminates a lot of the funding barriers. It's all about ideas, but you also have to execute. But it's a great time to be an entrepreneur. So I'll conclude with, I think it's an incredible time to be alive, and I'll finish with one story of Jack Andraka. Jack is a 15-year-old that I met at the Clinton Global Initiative, the most incredible young man. He lost a loved one to pancreatic cancer and decided to do something about it. And when he did some research, he found out two things about testing pancreatic cancer. One, the tests were very inefficient, and B, they were very expensive. So he did a lot of research online, leveraging the tools and the knowledge that is available to us all. And he came up with a plan, submitted it to 22 research institutes. Carnegie Mellon picked them up. And in a very short period of time, he discovers a cancer test 100 times more sensitive and 28 times cheaper than the current test. I'm optimistic about our world. I'm optimistic about what's ahead when people like young men like Jack Andraka are giving the tools. And that's the world in which we're living, which is exponential. And when you add all this up, I truly believe that the best is yet to come. So thank you. I'll sit down.
So maybe what's different is time scale. That what Carlos has, I think, very nicely shown is that the forces that used to take a lifetime to go through this sort of S-curve of introduction, displacement, and introduction. And there, believe me, there's a differential equation that I won't share with you that actually describes those market phenomena. But it would take a lifetime. It certainly was beyond a career. And so you could comfortably get into the flow and live in a business that would continue to grow and thrive and see you to your retirement. And what we're finding now is that the forces by which that upheaval takes place are happening at an increasing pace. You said 15 years, and probably it'll go down to 5 and 2 and 1. And that's partly because of the very connectivity that you showed, right? That the knowledge generators are increasing in number as the world population grows and as education is something that is affordable and accessible to a greater number of people. And the sharing of information allows that knowledge to very quickly disseminate.
So the main thing, the message I'd like to leave with you is disruption. Disruption is change, and you have to embrace change. The worst thing that we have right now is competition, meaning business as usual. We're all comfortable in our place, and the biggest competition that entrepreneurs have, or market entry, the barrier to entry is not that somebody else has something else better than yours or less than yours. The biggest barrier to entry is business as usual, because you've got to convince your customer that he's got to get up at a different time in the morning, or he's got to go to bed at a different time, and that's your biggest competition, not the technology and not how smart you are or anybody else. It's just business as usual.
But I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today to be a part of our disruption exercise. And hopefully you walk out of here with something you didn't know, or just a lot of more questions in your head. I want to talk to Carlos about that avatar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.